Big Data and Bad Decisions by Neena Graham from Choice Hotels and Maggie Merklin and Mark Wilson from Analytic Partners.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Glad to see there's still so many people here today, and we're excited to share our presentation. So we'll be talking about big data, bad decisions with all of you today. And what this is really about is Analytic Partners working with Choice Hotels to bring together marketing mix modeling and digital attribution to really help Choice with understanding one version of the truth, and ultimately providing more robust insights for the business, which Neena will talk with you about in a bit more detail. So to take a step back, prior to embarking on this research with Choice Hotels, all of their different marketing tactics were being measured in isolation. So TV ROI was coming from their media mix modeling, search ROI was coming from a different source, and display ROI was coming from a different source as well. So everything was really being measured ultimately in a siloed environment. So this isolation and the measurement in isolation really led to a dilemma for Choice Hotels. So when they looked at the ROIs from last click or view-through measurements, they saw that the ROIs for display ads, for example, were significantly higher than the ROIs they were getting from media mix modeling. So on the chart here, you can see that those last click or view-through ROIs were roughly 4 to 5 times higher than what they were getting from media mix. So you can understand where there's some questions being risen within the organization in terms of what should we be using to really understand how our digital is performing for us. That being said, some of the nice benefits of that last click ROI was that it was able to provide much more granular insights. So looking at things like, how do my different partners perform in terms of responsiveness and ROI? So ultimately, Choice needed one version of the truth to provide them with those more granular insights on an ongoing basis.
So to create that one version of the truth, we considered 3 main factors. So the first one being incrementality, the fact that some people would have made their purchase even in the absence of media. And then secondly, to consider other conversion factors, so outside of digital marketing, some things, pricing, availability of hotels, etc. And then finally, considering what's the impact of the different weights that we assign to each of the different digital pathway touch points. So we consider those 3, and we'll talk about the other drivers to start with. So a large percentage of conversions, or bookings in this case, are a result of other factors. And in that case, what we usually see is that the last click or view-through ROIs will typically overstate the revenue that's put against digital. And if we just take this one example, we can see in the first campaign, we have all of revenue associated with the digital marketing. And we look at campaign 1 coming from the marketing mix, you can see there's other factors that were also driving that. In the similar case for the campaign 2, we can also see other factors that are driving that. But the interesting fact is not only are we overstating the impact, but also if we compare the 2 campaigns, campaign 2 is outperforming campaign 1 because there are other factors that were driving campaign 1 rather than campaign 2. So we're overstating, and we're also getting the wrong message from the last click as well. So the digital ROI we have in the marketing mix accounts for these other factors, and that's why we believe it's a better version of the truth. So nextly, we're going to look at different types of incrementality. So different digital touch points will have different levels of incrementality. So we're just going to look at 4 different types of digital touch points that we could have in any kind of campaign. And what we're comparing is the marketing mix incrementality to a last click incrementality. And what you can see is we move across the different types of exposures. So someone just generally web surfing who might be under prospecting display is a high incrementality. As we move down to making a generic search for hotels, and further on in the path to purchase, we're making retargeted display now. Someone's visited the site, or someone's making a specific search for the brand. So that incrementality is part of our calculations as we come to a more robust ROI. Okay, so next, the weighting that we assign to each digital touch point is also vital in terms of determining the ROI. If we look at the different touch points in this example, we can see many different users and their digital path to potentially a conversion or not a conversion. So what our methodology does takes into consideration millions of different touch points and different users and their experience, whether they're converting or not converting, and uses a modeled approach to determine the different weights that are assigned to each of those different touch points. So that can give a very different view in terms of ROI that we get from the different methodologies. And you can see more detail in the paper that we wrote. But you can see in this case, the last click ROI is very heavily weighted to search, as we've seen all of those different conversions were last click for search. And then we look at other options like fractional, which is arbitrary weighting. And then finally, our preferred option, which is the algorithmic option, which we believe is the most accurate. So finally, we're taking that into consideration. And that's why I believe that building this probabilistic model is a much more accurate way of assigning the weighting. So we've created one view of the environment that we can now use. So choice of using this one ROI as their future. The benefits now is we can get to a partner level ROI or even lower than that with any of the digital partners that we want to look at. But it's based on an incremental ROI rather than a last click or a view through ROI. So now we've stopped making the bad decisions. We've got better data, and we've only got one ROI. So Neena's going to take you through how that's impacted Choice Hotels' business.
Thanks.
So basically, we've been doing attribution modeling with analytic partners for about the last year or so. And with those more granular and frequent insights, we're able to optimize our digital partners with our agency on a more regular basis. So now that we're able to measure using probabilistic weighted methodology, we are able to see who's actually performing better, not necessarily from a last click or view through method, but from a true sort of empirical measurement standpoint, and then say, okay, well, this partner's doing better, so let's reallocate more spend toward partner A, and then maybe take away some spend from partner B. Also, we're able to employ more robust testing. So with that, we are able to do things like test retargeting through holdout testing and then see how those retargeting partners perform. Also, we're able to look at the types of customers that are actually getting exposures to our ads. So we're able to look at our loyalty customers versus new customers and really tease out that sense of incrementality. And it's a learning process throughout. Every time we do attribution modeling and we get new insights, we learn something new and we want to test new things. So that granularity of data and then the frequency at which we get these insights is really valuable to Choice from that perspective. And then I would say in terms of the big ticket items, in terms of implications and insights that were actionable for Choice, in the first year, maybe 6 months that we were doing attribution modeling, we did what I like to call cleaning house. We really focused on efficiency. So what does that mean? So in our first few rounds of insights, we really learned that we were over-serving ads to certain users. And I'm not talking 20 ads per user. I'm talking we were serving ads to people who had hundreds of ad exposures, potentially. They weren't people. I mean, this was pretty egregious from my perspective. And as a result, we implemented frequency capping with specific partners, particularly for those that were programmatic, to boost efficiency and really make sure that we weren't wasting ads for no reason. We want to serve ads that are going to ultimately drive bookings for Choice Hotels. Secondly, we focused on optimal ad sizes. So we learned that we were serving a lot of small ad sizes, things like tiny text links, that were just not driving bookings. And we sort of had a feeling that that was happening, but we never had sort of evidence to prove otherwise, or to prove that that was happening. So we specified again, particularly with our programmatic partners, that we would purchase specific ad sizes, namely standard ad sizes. None of these things, from my perspective, when I look back, seem like a big aha moment, but at the time, we didn't have any other data that would prove these points to us. So it was really valuable to get this customer level view. Now we are focused on not just being efficient, but being really effective. So what does that mean for Choice? That means we want to target customers that are, based on who they are, not just being customer A or customer B. We want to know that, customer A is a loyalty member and they travel for business and they're a millennial, but then the next customer might be a non-loyalty member traveling for leisure. So we might want to target them differently. And now with the proliferation of all these different devices, we want to do our best in the future, hopefully, to link customers based on Neena on mobile versus Neena on desktop and have them as one person. For now, we're still working through that, but obviously a very important point. So instead of just looking at the media these people are served, we want to make sure we know who they are so that we're being as effective as possible while still remaining efficient so that we can serve the right ads. So we get to the bottom line, right? That's what I care about here. So basically with these insights from attribution that we implemented, we were able to increase our incremental digital ROI by about 12%. So it was a big impact for us, and then digital revenue over $11 million. Beyond that, we get insights all the time now, and we're able to really leverage them and continuously learn. So it's been a great effort working with these guys on it. Thank you very much.